I mean, I think that at its best, Oscar celebrates excellence and things that resonate with people and mean something to them, And I think that transcends genre, and it's you know it when you see it, when you walk out of the theater and you're really thrilled.
Yeah, and it can get kind of crazy, but at the end of the day, there's something kind of cool about people getting together and say, "Hey, let's celebrate movies that are really special and have something new to say."
Yeah, so the remarkable thing about it is whether you agree or disagree with the outcomes, you have a national, sometimes international conversation about art that lasts months. That's like amazing.
Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to Collider Videos. For your consideration, our weekly award show leading up to the Academy Awards on February 24th, just a month and a half away. I remember when we first started doing this show, Perri and Jeff, I'll tell you, February 24th felt like it was so far away, and it felt like we still had a ways to go before we really got into the thick of award season. Well, not only are we in the thick of award season right now, so much that Jeff can't even look up from his computer because he's so damn busy, but we are what we now call crunch time. We just had the Critics' Choice Awards. The Golden Globes were a week ago. The Oscar nominations are a week from tomorrow, so they're Tuesday, January 22nd.
So our next show is Oscar nominations.
Our next show is Oscar nomination show. Okay, so make sure you mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. On the morning of January 22nd, that's next Tuesday, make sure you tune in live for our live reactions to the Oscar nominations. But before then, we have to talk about not only the outcome of the Critics' Choice Awards, but 66.9% of this table was actually at the Critics' Choice Awards, and 33% of this table looked amazing last night, and it ain't me. Paranormal Activity, man, you really know how to put it together. I mean that with incredible respect. It's up here, it's in the heart, and you just really brought it out. You were the best looking in that entire hangar last night.
I might have been one of the happiest in that entire hangar last night. Every single year when the Critics' Choice Awards roll around now, it's just, I think that night and then also Oscar night is when my heart is full and I sit there and I look around and I'm like, holy crap, how am I here? How am I sitting in this room, and how do I work in this industry?
Well, the thing about the Critics' Choice Awards is, listen, the Oscars are the Super Bowl. They are absolutely the Super Bowl. But the Critics' Choice are, a lot of our friends, a lot of our peers are sitting in the room at the tables with a lot of the filmmakers. So, as you know, Jeff, because all these times you tried to bring me down, Jeff Sneider.
Never.
For First Man, because I am the first Mantz who praised First Man from the very beginning since I saw it at Telluride on September 1st, 2018. I've been a big fan of this movie since day one. I know it did not get enough love at the box office, but the Critics' Choice, the broadcast film critics, the voting group that votes for the Critics' Choice Awards, gave this movie 10 nominations, and Universal Pictures was kind enough to put me at the First Man table. I was sitting right to my left was Damien Chazelle, right to my right was my girlfriend Jennifer, and next to her was Justin Hurwitz, who won Best Scorer and who did Collider Video. Maybe that's why he won, because he reached voters with our show. And right across the table there's Ryan Gosling.
Oh my God.
Right across the table is Claire Foy. And when the show was over, so ladies and gentlemen, check this out. I took all of the cards, the name cards, because they don't want them. So here's Damien Chazelle's, here's Ryan Gosling's, here's Claire Foy's, and here's Justin Hurwitz. So, I'm keeping these with me forever.
I am genuinely curious. What do you do with them now that you have them? Is there like a shelf somewhere?
Well, no, you know what I'm going to do? When I get the 4K version of the home entertainment release,
you're going to build a First Man shrine.
I'm gonna put the names into the little slot of this inside of the Blu-ray, the 4K. So it's all together, the movie and the names.
I'm imagining a tea party that Scott holds in his apartment with the little place settings and little stuffed animals to represent Ryan and Claire.
But the thing about First Man is that all season long, like when we would go out to the junkets and go to the screenings, I mean, I know how you felt about the film and all the talk that we had about First Man. I understand the criticisms against it, but I really I really love this movie. I've seen it like 5 times now. I love it more and more every time I see it. I cannot wait to get the 4K. That's going to be awesome on 4K. And it really meant a lot to be at the First Man table, not only because I love the film, but if you take Damien Chazelle, if you take Justin Hurwitz and Ryan Gosling, I was basically, for the second time since 2016, I was sitting at the La La Land table. I mean, come on. All that was missing was Emma Stone, and she wasn't at the award show at all.
I was so disappointed about that because, as everyone knows, my favorite movie was The Favorite.
And no one was there.
No one was there, which is very unusual. I understand maybe they have other obligations, but you would think, especially because I think that movie has a phenomenal ensemble where people like Nick Holt aren't really getting recognized. So why not bring some of them out and give them a little time in the spotlight too?
What was a personal, we'll get to the highlights of the show, but what was a personal highlight for you? Other than taking that awesome picture with me. I know that was a big one.
there were a lot. Oh man, how can I not go with meeting Julia Roberts? Because I've never crossed paths with her in the junket circuit, and Christian encouraged me to go up and say something, and I'm always very hesitant to do that, but for her in particular, I did have something in my back pocket that I wanted to say because she was always my grandfather's favorite actor. I mean, favorite of all time ever, where if it was one of her movies, he would watch it and he would encourage me to watch it, and especially after just celebrating my grandmother's 90th. To be able to go up to her and tell her how important my grandfather was to me becoming the movie lover I am today and how important her work was to him, that's something I'll never forget.
Well, listen, you're there for a reason. You're BFCA, you're a member of the group. You helped vote for those winners. For me, two highlights, I was making my way to the Quiet Place table, and Nicole Kidman called out my name. And I didn't see where she was sitting at the Boy Erase table. So she goes, Scott. I turn, it's Nicole Kidman. So I made a beeline for Nicole Kidman, and she grabs my hand and she just says, "Thank you so much for that Q&A. You're a great moderator." And I was like, she goes, "I hope you like the flowers." She sent me flowers. I said, "Oh my God, I love the flowers." That was a first. But really the highlight for me was really just staying at my table, not really making too many darts across the room to try to talk to other nominees, but sitting next to Damien Chazelle. He said to me, of all the Q&As that we did for First Man, the one that you moderated for the SAG-AFTRA Foundation was definitely the best. He says, "You have so much energy and your passion for film is infectious. And even back when we were doing La La Land, you did all our best Q&As." I mean, could that be any more of a highlight? Knowing how much I love La La Land.
That, but you're also so generous with everybody else around you. I'm happy that everybody spoke up, and because it's true. Your energy is infectious. That's why we love sitting at this table with you, and that's why we love having you on every single show possible.
Well, this is the best. I just love how we're now 2/3 of the way through award season. We're closer to the end of For Your Consideration than we are to the beginning. And just Jeff, overall, the results of last night's Critics' Choice Awards, the winners, what stuck out at you as a big upset, a big highlight, something that you were not expecting?
These ties. What is the deal with these ties? Is this an actual tie where the BFCA, they got the same number of votes? Because if so, just invite me to the BFCA next year and I'll be happy to break those ties, But could there be ties with the Oscars? Is this conceivable?
No, absolutely not. I don't think so.
So where does the tie come from? Is it that they get the same votes, or is it it's close enough? Let's just honor them.
No, that would not be cool if they did that. Even if somebody wins, but let's say Glenn Close won over Lady Gaga by 1 vote. She won.
Right.
But if that didn't happen, then that didn't happen. But the frustrating thing about that, Jeff, is that last year the Critics' Choice Awards had a 100% accuracy rate in predicting the major award winners at the Oscars.
I guess you can throw that out the window this year.
or not.
It bettered its chances because now it's got 2 in that category.
But the point I'm trying to make is I was like, whoever wins Best Actress last night, I'm like, okay, that person will probably go on to win the Oscar. And it was up between Lady Gaga and...
Can I ask you why you think that, though?
Why?
Yeah.
Because just over the years, not just last year, but over the years, the Critics' Choice Awards have had the highest percentage accuracy rate in predicting the nominees and the winners. So that's why. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed.
No one who votes for the Critics' Choice votes for the Oscars. Then what does it matter?
It just means that the Critics' Choice have the best chances to predict the winners because of their track record. I'm not saying that Christian Bale is going to win the Oscar for Best Actor at the Oscars. Because honestly, well, we'll get to that. But between Glenn Close and Lady Gaga both winning Best Actress, I was hoping one or the other would win. And now it's like, well, I guess now it's still going to be kind of up in the air, but I still think Glenn Close is going to win the Oscar.
I would like to bet the Critics' Choice Awards just predicted the Best Actress winner between the two of them and also Olivia Colman. At this point, I think that's a three-person race,
No,
sadly, for
so.
Melissa McCarthy.
I still think that this is Glenn Close's year.
I still think it's between Glenn Close and Lady Gaga, but at this point, if I had to pick a number 3, it would be Olivia Colman, and then Melissa McCarthy comes next.
All right, Jeff, what do you think? Best Actress, Oscars. Winner.
I think it's between Gaga and Olivia Colman.
Really, you don't think Glenn Close, even after? Listen, I'm telling you, she doesn't have an Oscar. This is her year. She's getting a lot of support. I mean, the Globe, she tied at the Critics' Choice Awards. The Wife is a movie that not a lot of people saw, but the people who needed to see it, maybe from their
I'll put
screeners.
It this way. I think maybe a few years ago, if The Wife had come out and Glenn Close hadn't won an Oscar, they might have given it to her. But I think that there's 2,000 new Academy members who don't feel like, hey, she doesn't have an Oscar because of us.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I don't care. That, yes, a lot of the newer 2,000 voters, they're more diverse. Maybe they're younger.
And they're not going to be voting for Glenn Close.
Disagree, because I don't care how old you are. You pay respect to Glenn Close because she is one of the best actors ever, and she doesn't have an Oscar. And she was great. I mean, she deserves to win on her own merits on The Wife because she's great in the film, regardless of how many people saw it. But because she never won an Oscar, this is going to be her Paul Newman, The Color of Money. This is going to be her Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman. This is going to
agree
be
to disagree.
Her. Well, we'll find out, man. And boy, are you going to be sorry. So, Perri, please help me out here.
I think someone's just pissed that he wasn't at the award show
Yes,
last night,
that's
sharing in all of the champagne that we all drank, maybe a little too much of.
See, I only drank Sprite because I knew I had to be here sharp and bushy-tailed, on my toes for your consideration. I care. All right.
Scent of a Woman grossed $63 million domestic. Okay. So people saw that movie. Nobody saw The Wife.
Okay, people saw The Wife. Just not
Color
as
of
many
Money,
who saw.
$52 million domestic.
I don't care. I'm telling you, it's a career award.
All right, well,
Glenn
we'll
Close
see.
is going to win.
We'll see
And
who's
again,
telling
I'm not
who at
saying
the
that
end
they're
of
throwing her
February.
a bone because she's great in the movie, and she, especially at the end of the film. But this is her year. Jeff, all right, right now, okay?
$20?
On
I'll do $20
TV, on TV. Okay,
$20
right here.
You put
$20.
$20 on Glenn Close.
$20.
All right, Perry's gonna all
right.
Give Perry the money.
$20.
Give Perry the money.
I'm putting
I have the
$20
field.
Don't give me your money.
on Glenn Close.
So I have the field.
Right here.
If anyone but Glenn Close wins,
No.
I win this bet.
No. You pick someone right now. You can't say anybody but Glenn
You're
Close.
being adamant that it's Glenn Close. I'm saying it's Gaga or Olivia Colman.
Okay,
but really,
so I'm saying Glenn Close. You're saying not Glenn Close.
Yes.
That's it. $20.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on Collider, you're seeing it right here. You're seeing it right here. This man, Jeff, and I, right here. Boom.
Glenn Close field.
Glenn Close is going to win,
field.
and he's picking whoever he's picking. I don't know, but the point is,
Perry's going
is that
today.
the Mantz man is going to prevail.
I don't know what ranks after this.
Make sure you comment below. Who is going to win this bet, Jeff or Mantz? Make sure you hit us up, the Sneider movie Mantz.
There we go.
Let us
That's
know
what
who
I'm
you think is
talking
going to win. Tag Collider video. Tag Collider FYC. We want to know who's going to win.
Now
this
we're
bet.
Apparently,
having
I
fun.
owe you $5. Someone dropped it in a comment section recently, and I completely forgot about it. I think we made some sort of similar bet for the Golden Globes regarding Rami Malek winning.
Oh,
Did we do that?
pay up, my friend.
I don't walk around with my pockets full of money like you
It's
do.
okay.
but-
Let's move on.
I honor my bets.
I know you
Pay
do,
up.
and I know where you live, Missy. So okay.
I lost all my globes.
All right.
so.
Okay. Let's move on to Best Actor. Best Actor now.
All right.
Christian Bale winning Best Actor for Vice. Christian Bale winning Best Actor in a Comedy for Vice. Now, when he won Best Actor in a Comedy first, I thought the Best Actor award was going to go to Rami Malek. And did you?
I did think that once they announced that he wasn't going to win both.
Okay. What about you, Jeff?
Do you think I watched the show last night?
You know what, Perry? Perry, you just proved your point.
Yes.
He's just jealous. You are so jealous that you weren't there. You could have gone with me. You could have told.
Thanks for the invite.
You could have gone with next year.
I don't know when Best Actor in a Comedy was given out. Next
It was
to
given
Best
out at
Actor.
Best Actor in a Comedy. Obviously,
All I
given
know is
out.
that there's 7 nominees in this category. Like the Critics' Choice just can't seem to make decisions.
Well, one person won. And one
Well,
person won 2 acting awards. That
I
person
will
was
say
Christian
part
Bale.
of the reason why I like the fact that there are more nominees is because
was
there's still
fun.
usually there's still just one winner. What's the harm in having more movies put out there, the titles put out there, especially with movies like At Eternity's Gate and also First Reformed. Those are movies that nobody's really talking about anymore. So to have them at least get some recognition they probably deserve, good on them for being in there. Also, that was one of my favorite parts about the tie thing. I don't think it was Gaga and Glenn Close that said it. I think it was Amy Adams and Patricia Arquette.
Oh, that was great.
Amy Adams gets up on stage and she just was so excited about the idea of sharing this with someone, with being up there on that stage with another individual where she wanted to say the next person's name. I don't know. That just adds a really nice touch. Even though, usually we're going to come down to one winner, but that was a nice moment.
Let's frame it in the context of the Oscar conversation, which is really the only conversation worth having. Okay,
Okay,
is
go
it
ahead.
between Christian Bale and Rami Malek? Like, are Cooper and Vigo and everyone else, are they out of it? Is this a 2-man race?
No,
I don't
it's a
think
3.
Cooper's out of it.
Yeah.
Is that who you were going to say?
Yeah.
Because I think Viggo Mortensen at this point
Is out.
is pretty much out in terms of getting a win. I still think he's getting the nomination, but I would say Christian Bale is the front runner. Rami Malek is right behind him, and then it's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, the Cooper has definitely kind of moved from first in my mind to a clear third. This seems like a Bale versus Malek race,
All right, wait.
and I don't know who wins because, genuinely, I mean, like, is Rami Malek still an ingenue? Is he still like considered a young up and coming actor? Obviously, he has a hit TV show with Mr. Robot and
He's
whatever.
in
And he's
anyway.
been around a while.
Yeah.
But like Oscar loves to give it's female ingenues Best Actress awards, but generally if you're a guy, you have to wait a little bit longer and pay those leading man dues.
Well, I want to know your opinion on why Cooper went from being a front runner in the acting category to now following either Rami Malek and
It's a
Christian
great
Bale.
question. I don't
What
know.
happened?
Like,
What happened?
It seems like he's run a really good campaign. Like I like everything Warner Brothers has done. I don't know why Christian Bale has come on so hot and heavy in a performance that, as good as he is, it's a makeup performance. That's the transformation to me. And they're the people who deserve the Oscar.
The makeup is definitely key here, and I think they deserve to be acknowledged as well. But so much of that role and the success of the role is his physicality and his delivery. I mean, some of the different ways that they cover different scenes, like especially that Shakespearean scene, that is coming through their performances largely.
Sure,
Yeah.
he changes his voice and he talks out of the side of his mouth and he gained weight. To me, I didn't feel that performance in my bones like I did Bradley Cooper's
It's
Jackson
a
Maine.
completely different type of performance and a completely different type of movie too. I think when I say, let's say, A Star Is Born got at my heart in one way, Vice got at it in a completely different way, where I couldn't shake both of them off, but for different reasons.
You know, I actually was I was doing the live pre-show with Sam Rubin from KTLA. You know, so he was doing the Critics' Choice pre-show. So, talk about a bet. I told him my prediction for lead actor was going to be Rami Malek, and he said Christian Bale. And he said, "Why do you think Rami Malek?" And I just said, "Well, I mean, the movie made almost $800 million worldwide, and he did win the Golden Globe. I mean, he's been getting so much of the movie's been getting. It's been defying some of the mixed reviews from critics. And also, I said people love Freddie Mercury, they don't love Dick Cheney.
Right.
But this was the Critics' Choice Awards.
Right.
That's why going into this, I didn't think Rami Malek had a chance.
Oh, you didn't think he
Right,
had a
because the
chance?
critics
Not,
didn't
not
like
with
really,
not with critics.
Oh, I see what
don't
you're
think that
saying.
necessarily applies to other organizations, especially after the Globe win. I do think that he is still one of the higher frontrunners. But when it came to the Critics' Choice Awards, it didn't matter what I thought personally, because it's a much larger voting body, and that's when you can look at something like, let's say, a Rotten Tomatoes and see how a movie like that completely splits the critics.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that because I'm thinking of just like overall how the movie has defied the critics, but it was the critics who were mixed, and it was the critics who voted for the Critics' Choice, and a lot of the critics, myself included, have compared Christian Bale's performance in Vice to Gary Oldman's performance as Winston Churchill in
and
Darkest Hour.
So they're going to reward that same kind of performance 2 years in a row? I suspect not, and I think Rami Malek may be your Oscar frontrunner at this point,
think
but
he
I'm
is.
still rooting for Cooper.
I'm rooting for Rami. I still think that Rami is the frontrunner here for the Oscars, and Perri, you're
I'm
still
going Christian Bale.
Okay, you're still going with Christian
Especially
Bale.
if they do go with someone like Glenn Close, as you're saying, Scott. Like I think only one ingenue will get it. So it'll either be like Close and Rami or Lady Gaga and Bale. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I hear you. I completely agree with that. All right, let's move on to the supporting category. Supporting actress, Regina King winning for If Beale Street Could Talk just a week after she wins at the Golden Globes. Not a surprise. That's who I picked.
That's a lock.
yeah.
None of these other performances are strong enough. It is a weak year for supporting actress. Sorry.
Disagree on that statement, but I still think it's a lock for Regina King, just like I think it's a lock for Mahershala at this point. I think the two of them are going to run away with award season.
I think that Regina King, it's hers to lose, and supporting actor Mahershala Ali for Green Book. Again, he won this award, Critics' Choice, and the Oscar 2 years ago for Moonlight, and this is a far. I would say he displays a whole lot more range
Yes,
in
absolutely.
Green Book than he did in Moonlight, but. I do think if anyone could sort of upset the supporting actor category, it's Richard E. Grant. Because Richard E. Grant, he's been making movies for like more than 40 years. And it's a dream role for an actor by any measure. And here's an actor who's just been doing great work, such great work over the last 40 years that it's almost like taken for granted. No pun intended. Richard E. Grant. I just didn't even think about that.
That was good.
But no. But he's amazing. He is truly a superb supporting actor in Can You Ever Forgive Me? Supporting Melissa McCarthy. And being great in his own right. But I still think that Mahershala
I think he's terrific, but I think it's starting to feel like wishful thinking that he's going to win. He has not caught on in any significant way this season.
Nobody else in that category has caught on.
Right,
And I also do have a feeling that Green Book, no matter how many nominations it gets, it's going to be limited in the wins. And I just have this feeling that if Mahershala gets the win, that will be its win. I don't see it taking any other category.
You're voting, unfortunately, with the Oscars. As much as you're voting for the performance, you're also voting for the person. And Mahershala gets those votes because of everything he's had to put up with all the Green Book controversies and how he's just sort of kept his poise and maintained his composure through all of it. But if there was some upset in that category, I don't think it would be Richard Grant anymore. I think Sam Elliott is kind of like a stronger number two
fair
at
enough.
this point.
I found that Sam Elliott just got completely lost in the mix to me. I really do think that the only person who has a chance looking at this list is Richard E. Grant, even though if I were in control of the Oscars and awarding those statues, this would be all Timothy Chalamet to me.
Yeah, me too,
look,
probably.
that's the thing about voting for the Critics' Choice Awards. When I was voting, I was thinking, okay, now I'm not doing for your consideration. I'm not predicting how I think this group is going to vote, how I think that group is going to vote, how I think the Oscars are going to turn out. I'm voting for what I loved. So can I actually ask you?
As we should.
It's really nice to do that too, especially doing this show all the time. One, just to take a step back and actually pick the things you want to pick, but also for this show, the reverse effect, just sitting there and being a human being scrolling through or like filling out a
Really
physical
thinking of
ballot,
it.
really thinking of it, but all just like seeing where your mind trails off to, and how you process certain things. Because sometimes when you're checking off little boxes, a thought will come into your mind that here, assessing Oscar chances didn't cross my mind beforehand that are now going to influence my own picks.
Can I ask you what you voted for Best Picture?
For Best Picture?
Yeah, for Best Picture. I just want to.
What's my favorite movie of 2018? Yeah.
Yeah, but ask me what I voted for. Ask me what I voted for.
What'd you vote for?
Do I have to ask you?
Ask me.
What'd you vote for?
What did you vote for?
First Man. I voted for First Man. It's the movie I loved.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Green Book. I loved Green Book kind of as much as First Man for completely different reasons. But First Man, it's just, I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's a brilliant film. And okay, enough. All right, okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about Black Panther. It won 3 Critics' Choice Awards: production design, costume design, and visual effects. What happened to Best Picture, Mr. Sneider?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
Come on, dude, you're the expert here. Come on.
on the Critics' Choice Awards, I don't know why it didn't win Best Picture. I don't think it really ever stood a chance at Best Picture in this at the show. Costume design is a nice win for it. Production design,
Visual effects, yeah.
I'm not sure I buy into that one. And visual effects, like, it had the worst visual effects of any Marvel movie last year. Infinity War had better effects.
Disagree with it having the worst visual effects, but as much as I loved the movie, one of the big glaring negatives to me in my review was specifically the visual effects in the third act, when the two of them fight each other, just because you have so much material that's done with like the living, breathing actor, and then all of a sudden you're cutting back and forth to them, and then and then the visual effects versions of the Black Panther, that it just becomes so glaringly obvious that it's fake, and that bothered me, which is why I did not vote for it in that category.
It was the one winner last night where I was like, really? Visual effects for Black Panther?
Well, especially when you look at that list, too, because I do think the visual effects in Infinity War are much stronger. But then, I mean, think about it in particular for something like First Man and something like Mission Impossible Fallout. Those are two movies that incorporate visual effects in a way that it would never cross your mind that something is done with VFX.
I agree with
that. If I had to rank the nominees in visual effects, Black Panther would be last on my list.
Is that right?
I will even say that First Man's visual effects were better than Black Panther's.
Well, some movies, some winners here that not a surprise.
Spider-Man won.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
So
go
happy.
Spidey, go! I'm telling you, that movie's going to win. Spider-Man is going to get an Oscar.
It's getting every single thing from here on out. I feel like the Globes set the tone, and now that's it. It's running for it. It's its award to lose.
I completely agree.
It has no competition, really.
And then there's Best Action Movie, no question at all. Mission Impossible, Fallout.
Agreed.
The one Best Comedy, Crazy Rich Asians.
I was happy about that.
I thought maybe that would go to The Favorite, but
I thought that was going to the favorite.
Yeah, that was going to go to The Favorite. But let's talk about the piece de resistance here. 4 big wins for Roma. No surprise for Best Foreign Language Film. No surprise for Cinematography. No surprise for Best Director.
Right.
Best Picture. Best Picture. What do you think?
This is what I would have picked if I were betting on what the BFCA would have picked.
So I would have bet on Stars
Again, go back to what I said about Rotten Tomatoes. Look at just like the wide-ranging love and praise and adoration for every stitch of that movie.
Mm-hmm. No,
there was
I agree.
no doubt in my mind that was the safer bet in terms of this voting organization.
Yeah, of course critics are going to go for Roma. They can't agree on anything else. I think,
it is true. I mean, when you go down the list, every single thing has something kind of dragging it down.
See, for the Critics' Choice, Broadcast Film Critics, I thought that they were going to go for Stars Born. I thought that was going to be, but I still thought that probably the Oscar would go to Roma.
Half the critics, though, think, it's a remake of a remake of a remake. It shouldn't win anything. Like, I wasn't expecting it to win.
I can't even believe how many times I've either heard that or read that in reviews.
Yeah,
so that was weighing heavily on my mind. And it's also what we've been talking about on this show with A Star Is Born for a little while now, is that it fizzled out a little bit. It was the front runner and everything across the board, and then all of a sudden the wins started to come in and it wasn't getting them.
It's been a front runner since September, and the problem with being a front runner that early is you have to stay being a front runner for 6 months, and that was a big problem 2 years ago for La La Land. It lost Best Picture. We all know that, and it. Unfortunately, it looks like the same sort of thing is happening to A Star Is Born. It's losing its footing as a frontrunner for Best Picture, but I think for Best Song, it's got it in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
For Best Actress, Sorry, man. $20.
Yeah, I know. Put it back on the table. Isn't
Right here.
it a relief though, looking into our crystal ball, that at least this year again, Oscars So White will not be a thing.
No, it won't.
We're looking at two probable, African American winners between
yeah.
Mahershala Ali and Regina
right.
King. We're looking at Alfonso Cuarón winning 2 Oscars for cinematography and direction, and who knows who else could win. So I'm just saying, it seems like another year where, thankfully, we won't have to deal
There's
with
diversity.
that. It won't overshadow the ceremony.
Yeah. The Oscars So White will not be a problem this year at all. But man, I can't wait until next Tuesday. Get up, and it's going to be live streamed on the Oscar website, oscar.org.
It's the only day that I really love getting up well before the sun rises.
It's so fun. I mean, any other wild predictions there for next week, pal? What do you think?
Wild predictions.
Like what's, like, for example, Rosamund Pike getting nominated for a Golden Globe for Private War. Do you think that she'll make the cut for...
I wish.
No.
If that was I don't think she's making the cut, but I think that might be one of the best possible surprises I could imagine. I think the thing that I'm looking forward to most, especially because we were just talking about Black Panther, is just seeing it get a nomination. Because I know
It'll get nominated.
It's not going to go on to win, but just the fact that it gets nominated at all sets the tone in such a positive way for that kind of movie, for the blockbuster experience where let's throw the stupid popular film thing completely out of the window and never bring it back again. Because when the studios actually manage to knock it out of the park with something like Black Panther, it should be nominated and looked at on the same exact level of every other movie that typically gets into those categories. So I'm looking forward to that happening and continuing to set that tone.
Well said.
As exciting as the award season has been, because there's no clear frontrunner and things, a lot of things are sort of up for debate, I also think that this year's nominees have been mostly a boring crop. So I would like to see some a shakeup or two, whether that's an Emily Blunt nomination for
Boring?
A Quiet
How
Place.
so?
I don't think...
I hate this year's awards crop of movies. Like, yeah, I just don't like them. Like, I like 3 of the 12 movies that we're talking
Emily
about.
Blunt deserves
I
to
would
get
love to
nominated
see
for
Blunt
lead
get in.
for Poppins and for supporting for A Quiet Place. I mean, again, like the range between those two movies, on top of the range that she displayed in a thriller like Sicario, an action movie like Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, singing and dancing in Mary Poppins, a scary movie like A Quiet Place. I mean, phenomenal
I'd love
talent.
to see someone like Elsie Fisher snag the 5th slot
There
in
you
Best
go.
Actress out of nowhere.
Or, you know what?
That
Carrie
5th slot
Mulligan.
is up for grabs.
Carrie Mulligan, if she snuck in for Wildlife, a very
I don't
overlooked
think
movie,
That's never happening.
that would be. I know it's never happening.
Yeah.
Elsie
but-
Fisher has maintained some awards momentum, whether it's
All year
through
long.
breakthrough awards or whatever it is. And even though I'm not this movie's biggest fan, I still would like to see Michael B. Jordan try to crack that
Yeah.
5th supporting actor slot for Black Panther. I do think he was really, really good.
All right. Any final thoughts before we tease to next Tuesday's live show that we're going to stream live at 8:45 a.m. Pacific time, or 9 a.m. Pacific time, right? 9 a.m. Pacific next Tuesday, January 22nd, right? Isn't that when we're doing it?
I'm almost 100%
Yeah,
sure.
it is. It is. Don't worry. You don't have to look it up.
I'm gonna
Pause.
look it up just
All right,
in
look it
case
up
now.
anyway because you're OCD just like I am. But any final thoughts, Jeff? Nope.
My only final thought is how is not a single female journalist, nominated for the Publicists Guild Press Award today?
Who was
really?
nominated?
Who cares? Not a single woman. Like, that blows my mind. You can't find one female journalist to nominate for this award.
For the press award?
It's been a garbage award for years.
Wait a minute. Not in 2014. It wasn't.
Well, when Scott Mantz wins,
I won that
well-deserved.
award in 2014.
But I don't know.
The Publicists
how
Guild
do
Press
the
Award.
publicists come up with these nominees? I'm begging you, publicists, open your eyes and look a little closer.
Wait,
Thank you.
was Weintraub nominated again? Frosty?
No,
he wasn't.
No,
Okay.
nobody here. But you know what? Perri should have been nominated.
Perri should
I'll
have been
take it.
nominated.
Sure, why not?
Perri absolutely should be nominated.
She works her ass off. I see it firsthand.
All right, listen.
That means more than a nomination from you. Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome, Pete.
All right, so I guess that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at January 22nd. The Oscar nominations are announced, and this show, for your consideration, hashtag Collider FYC goes into overdrive.
9 a.m.
9
9 a.m. PT.
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Pacific time. We are going to be streaming live to go through like really comb through those nominations and really just bring about 5 months of Collider FYC coming to bear on January 22nd. This is what the show is all about. I cannot fucking wait until next Tuesday, January 22nd. Come on. Paranormal Activity. I know you feel the same way. Sneider, you know, we're one step closer to you losing $20. And man, oh man, I cannot wait for that day. February 25th, man, that's going to be a very, very, very exciting day for me to take $20 from you. So, until next week, until January 22nd, 9 a.m. Pacific Time Live, FY. See you later.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. If you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.